Hello and welcome to an honest walkthrough and review of Trails. Now this library is a collaboration between Fracture Sounds and the composer Alexander Parsons. Now it's not just a string library, I want to emphasize that. Yes, we have a whole violin patch, we have a cello patch, and then kind of a combination, but we also have this really cool Dulcichord. It's like a small tabletop piano, one of Alexander Parsons' instruments, and apparently it's quite a rare instrument and it sounds absolutely beautiful. They kind of layer some string textures underneath it, but we will get to that shortly. There's also a whole synth patch and this granular engine, which I absolutely love. I'm quite familiar with them because I used to compose a lot of acoustic music and I love granular synthesis. So this library is more than just strings, and it is available for $99 euros and £89 starting price. It will go up to $149 or euros and £129 on the 19th of March. That's when it goes up to full price. So there is a starting price, and hopefully in this video we'll see if it's worth your precious money. But if you want a taste of Fracture Sounds quality before you purchase anything from them, they do a free series of instruments called Blueprints. They're basically light versions of their full products. They're excellent, beautiful, and I've featured them many times on my free sample of the week. Anyway, let's dive into this product. I want to go straight in and start digging around because honestly I had a lot of fun playing around with this, and the introduction you saw at the beginning of the video was actually when I was testing this product. I couldn't help myself but set up quite literally 3 cameras and of me just kind of messing around and initially playing with it. Anyway, this is the first patch, Solo Violin. As I said, there is 7 different patches, well technically 6, but the 7th is like a lightweight version of the Granular patch. The first one is Solo Violin. We then have Solo Cello Textures, which as you can see is extremely similar, just with cello. We then have this combination patch right here, violin and cello. Again, very similar sort of expressions. We do have a mixture of longs and shorts, and then some more, I want to say, bitsy sort of patches. We then have probably one of my favorite and probably underrated aspect of this library is this Faulkner Dulcichord. It's out of this world. I honestly absolutely love this. And then we have the synth. There we go. Lots to play around with there as well, but we will dive into that eventually. And then we have the granulator. And then there's loads of presets and sounds and bits and bobs. You can mess around with this and really get super creative. Or if you're bored, just press the shuffle or random button and it will come up with something very interesting and unique. And there is a light version of this as well for the computers that might not be able to take it. Anyway, jumping in, let's go look at the Solo Violin. Now, naturally, they do pile the reverb on, and I will play this first patch out of the box, but then I'm going to dial the reverb back, and honestly, I love the raw recording. It's just this close, intimate violin sound. We do have this atmospheric intensity bit over here, which again we'll mess around with. You do have like these mic position-esque sort of things with it, but it's different, it's unique, and I like it. The mod wheel controls the dynamic, but also the atmosphere intensity, as you probably saw in the intro. But let's stop saying but and just play some samples. Gorgeous, full of emotion, full of character. One thing I will add, the velocity sensitivity is there. I almost wish it wasn't as sensitive, so what I'm going to do is draw it back here in the settings. It's almost too sensitive, especially for a string patch, and I'm going between the mod wheel and that, so I will bring that back. You can control the tightness, key switch range, and noise mode for the lo-fi. So that's all in the settings bit there, very plain and simple. Now I'm going to dial that reverb completely off. You can affect it a little bit more. There's a nice little setting knob there. Again, with these, the delay, there's more settings, I just love how user-friendly, and I said this about their blueprints as well, just how user-friendly the interface is. A beginner could use this, somebody more advanced could go in and really edit things. Even on these individual articulations, I can go in and edit the volume, the pan, the attack, the release, which is especially nice if I want to use two at once. If you hold shift, if my keyboard turns back on, and I select another one, you can do two at once. So having that control over the individual articulations, volume, panning, attack, or release is extremely important. Anyway, no reverb on, just listen to the sample. Absolutely gorgeous. It just cuts right through. I love the purity of the recording. Beautiful stereo field. I feel like I've got my head between two violins, essentially. It's just amazing, the raw sound, and the reverb is so realistic. Like, you could get away with not having mic positions with this library because the way they've tuned the reverb is so well done. Now I want to quickly show you this atmospheric bit over here. So the raw sound is what you were basically hearing there. Now to dive into the atmosphere, we're going to mute that completely and we'll just listen to kind of the combination and separate them out a bit. So we've got our intensity up. And now let's solo them out. So the first one was a vortex. Almost vocal like that one. Mute that. Oscillating bells. Granulated strings. I love these. The fact that you have this texture underneath it, absolutely gorgeous, and even those could be used standalone here. So we've got to move on because we've got so much to get through. Flicker. Let's go through this one quickly. I will mix in a little bit of reverb. It is what it says on the tin. It is what the image describes it as. Just these little flickers that are absolutely gorgeous. And if I up the reverb, make them a little bit more subtle. Gorgeous. You can see the effect the dynamic fader has on there as well. Just that intensity. Absolutely love it. Lo-fi. That's cool. I like that. So you've got a couple different settings. Basically, you can change what sort of speaker it has, add some hiss, some noise, some saturation, some wobble, just to almost degrade the sound, make it more lo-fi, I guess. So that's an option there. Pretty awesome. Divergence. Let's move on to another articulation. This is a sound you cannot recreate using a normal violin sample library. That is only something you can get from either recording it or getting an actual player. Like, that is absolutely awesome. And again, the flexibility with the reverb and everything you have there, it's a really unique and full of character sort of sound. Ricochets. Ricochets. These are shorts, essentially, with almost like an atmospheric bit underneath it, which is this over here, because if we just solo the raw. I love the range that you're getting with this library. I recently did a video on, it was the Crow Hill Company, that did this really cool granular string library. The one thing I really wish that was included in that library is something like this, something short, something to just bring more of a diversity to it. I'm really feeling I'm getting that with this library, that diversity of shorts, of longs, of interesting, unique gestures, and as well as some more traditional sounds as well. And this really cool atmospheric bit as well. A bit more reverb. And this in combination with maybe flickers or the first one. Very effective. Love that. Right, moving swiftly on. Short swells. Is what it says on the tin. Piercing, beautiful sound. Very, very well recorded. Stutters. I'm going to take the raw off because I really do love that atmospheric bit. More reverb. Super cool. Reflections. Just picturing like a busy New York, cars flying by, really cool and unique articulations. I'm really loving the range. They're very usable. Deviations, gonna rip the reverb a little bit off. very cool. I love the piercing bits that just cut through, and at the same time that beautiful space that the reverb creates. Shimmer. Got a couple of different types of reverbs there as well. Not too many, not too few. I like that. So that's the solo violin. And you'll see something very similar with the cello. I think we have the exact same sort of articulation. So we will very quickly flick through these just so you can hear them. That low end is absolutely gorgeous. Flickers. Ricochets. Also kind of getting Kepler vibes. It's a Spitfire audio library that I regrettably bought. It's not my favourite. I thought I'd use it more than I would, but this one just feels a bit more user-friendly, but very similar kind of in style. But again, I'm loving this balance of shorts and longs. I feel you could create some very interesting atonal music with this library. Ooh, that resin, like that. It's such a lovely organic, just that swishing sort of sound. I love that. Didn't quite get that with the violin one, but that's why I'm trying to show you everything. Some, even though they're the same, different instrument, different register, you're getting a bit more oomph. Right, the combo patch now. Let's dive into this. I wonder how this kind of works. Interesting. I love the stereo field with this one, but I wonder what the difference is between me simply dropping the solo violin and the solo cello one together in contact, because you can do that, you can stack them. I don't know, we'll flick through the sounds and have it just tinker. I'm definitely loving the added texture from the combination. Like the solo is nice, but this just is a little bit more fuller and richer. Beautiful and unique. Again, combination patch, just a combination of the other two. Now we are moving on to, as I said earlier, probably one of my most favorite parts of this library. I absolutely love this instrument. Now, they could have just left the library with the violin and the cello, but adding this extra instrument, I absolutely love it. It's unique, it's different. And honestly, when I first messed around with this, I got my wife to come in and have a listen, just because I just love the velocity sensitivity, the texture, just the overall sound that comes from this. Yes, you have this beautiful atmospheric bit as well that we saw with the violin and cello, but if you just want the raw, and the texture and the mechanical sounds that come with it as well. Honestly, they could sell this separately and I would have bought this because it sounds so amazing. What else do we have? Broken tuning. I love that mechanical clicking sound. I just love it. I love my mechanical noise. I know some people don't, which is why you can just practically turn it off. But I just love a bit of clickiness, stereo width. Oh, you can affect the color. You can affect the timbre as well. This would be perfect for something like Downton Abbey or anything with a typewriter in. Love this. I love the fact that you can affect so much. The stereo width, the timbre, there's a broken tuning, key noises, reverb. What's it like stripped? Gorgeous. My favorite patch of the library. Absolutely love this, and I'm almost hoping they do a blueprint with this, but we'll see. That might be a big ask. Let's move on to the next bit because we can't dawdle on this one forever. The synth. Now, there is a lot going on here. There's multiple layers. There's randomness. There's your attack sustains release down there as well. Lo-fi, high pass filters. Basically, you can pick whatever you want on each of these layers and kind of have a mess. What's already on it? And you can kind of see the graphic as well, each layer fading in. What's random do? It's quite a clever way to do it, actually, that's user-friendly, because you can do this with normal synths, but it's I'd say complicated. It's not beginner friendly to do this with a normal sort of style synth. But the fact that just having it like this with the mod wheel going between the three, the beautiful graphic that shows you them lighting up, it just makes it so much more beginner friendly. I just want to hit random again because I actually really like doing that. Very smooth as well. Ooh, I like that. Very ethereal, that one. And we have that lo-fi that we had on the other patch as well. Very cool. One more. That's a lot of fun. I like that. Very user-friendly. This whole library just feels very user-friendly. I'll leave that for you to mess around if you purchase this, but you've got quite a few selections, and especially when you combine them and mix them in together, you've almost got endless amounts of fun there. The granulator. Now, this is a lot of fun. How to put this simply? Well, I guess the best way to do it is to show you. Hit a chord, and it will just take pieces of the sample and basically play it back. And you can affect where it will take the samples from. You can affect the shape of it, the attack, decay, and sustain release of the ons and offs. See the tracking here, so we can randomize the position even more. The speed. Or you can just hit random. But I love granulators because there's so much you can do with a sample with them. You can create a long sample into a load of short samples essentially and get this really nice bippy sound, or you can have this almost thick wave-like sort of sound current. And we've only just messed with one sound. You have so many samples available to you here. We actually scroll down and show you. Let's pick a different one. Let's go with the Dulcichord because I absolutely loved that. And actually, I just want that a little bit at the beginning if I can. Stretch that a little bit there. I love that effect though. It's something really kind of cool. Again, I'm just thinking back to acoustic music and kind of the uses for this in that style. Let's go with one other one as well. Spread that a little bit more. Position, start around about there. But really with this, you can find that balance between organic and synthetic. One more random one with a new sound. That's definitely a knob I'm probably going to put onto a CC and control it, because this patch, as you're probably just seeing, it's so inspiring and just fun to play with and to see what you can get out of this sound. And you can create some really unique sounds with this granulator. I feel I really like this added feature. All those samples that they've recorded, they're just put here available to you to have your way with. I almost wish I could drop my own samples in as well with this, because this is a really cool granulator, very beginner friendly. Again, I've messed with quite a few granulators, especially when I was doing my degree, and some of them get quite complex, but this one I feel is very, and I'm going to say it, beginner friendly for you just to go in, throw yourself in the deep end and mess around. If you're going to purchase this, I would highly recommend spending some time just messing around with some of the sounds and seeing what you can get out of this engine, because I can guarantee you will create something unique. But what do I think overall of this library? Especially for the starting price, £99, it is well worth it. You're getting two really diverse string patches with it. You're getting, of course, the solo violin and solo cello, and you're getting a nice range of longs and shorts there. I know you're only getting 8 articulations, but still you're getting a really nice range. The reverb, I love the fact you have this really intimate sound, but you can also push it back into this beautiful space. I love the atmospheric aspect of it as well. And you have all those bits to play with. And the same with cello. You have that lovely range. And I feel you could do a lot with what you've got here. Is this library for everybody? Probably not. It's not your bread and butter. If you're looking for something more unique and you already have a string, maybe a bread and butter string library like Spitfire solo strings, this would be a great addition to create more atonal, more expressive and unique music. But this is not your everyday, I would say, use sort of string library. Then again, I absolutely love the Faulkner Dulcichord. I will be using this in many compositions and definitely for some solo stuff as well, because it's just got a sound that I didn't know I needed until now. The granulator, a lot of fun, definitely something to sit down and play with and see what you can create. The synth, just an added benefit. I personally don't see myself using the synth much, but it's there. I again like the uniqueness to it, and overall I love how beginner friendly this library is. I can recommend it. I definitely would recommend it to anybody if you've got the money and you're looking for a string library with a twist. But it's not just a string library. Anyway, I hope that's been insightful. What do you think of this library overall? But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.